Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Finally, senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day wherein I am sitting in my very noisy and creaky chair. Hopefully, your day has been a very good one. Mine has been slow. It is noon. Hokey smokes. After 7:30, when I got out of bed, because I have insomnia so bad, I stay in bed as long as I can, just with my eyes closed, trying my best to rest my body, even if I'm not sleeping. But after 7:30, well, between 7:30 and 8 o'clock is when I need to take my blood pressure med. After 60, well, taking meds, it would only be for 42 years. But after 42 years of when they say, take it at the same time, only now have I been able to say, okay, that doesn't mean if I take it at 7:45, I have to take it at 7:45. Right, same time can be that stretch of time between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. So as long as I take it between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, I've taken it at the same time every day. I only say that as major revelation because my brain was never able to do that before. So it's nice that in my declining twilight years here, I mean, I'm not into the actual declining and twilight part yet. I mean, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. 3 parts. But each of those 3 parts can be broken down into a beginning, a middle, and an end. And even though I'm in the end part, I'm leaving the middle of the end, not out of it yet, and not in the end of the end. Decline and twilight. Not there yet. Thank goodness. Can't remember where I was when I was talking about things, so that's good. I love having ADHD brain. But one thing, looking up at my monitor, I can see the camera application with its screen up there. I always look like I'm leaning in this direction, and I'm not to my body. And if I try to adjust, then I'm really twisted around. I may look like I'm head on, but half my body is pointing this way and the lower half is going this direction, and yet it always kind of looks to me like I'm that way. But then, yeah, which is kind of weird too, because this is the side that pulls forward, which I guess would make me look like I'm leaning that way. Don't ask me. Anyway, though, some of the things that I did want to talk about, as well as I was actually able to do some real reading. I have been reading this to try and figure out, just how it works and all this stuff. I've read it before, really leaf through, because it's hard to physically read with my ADHD anymore. I used to have a book for every room in the house when I was younger. And as I've gotten older, that's gone down because of my inability to concentrate. Yay. But still doing the best I can. And hopefully you are doing the best you can. But I have been playing video games to take care of myself. I have tried to sleep as best I can. And then this morning, I ate food, and then I drank some tea. Now, I do this all the time. I eat food, and then I drink tea. But this morning, oh my God, I was burping up tea, gas. And it was just painful. I don't know why or what the tea was all reacting with, but I have had this combination of food many times with this same combination of tea, but this time it was very painful. Oh boy. The Constant Comment tea by Bigelow brand in the United States, probably just regional, in that it's sold under this name in this part of the United States and this name in this part of the United States, that sort of thing. I mean, they might be that much, but oh my God. Well, what I was talking about is now gone. So I have bad ADHD brain today. It is so hard to concentrate on anything, which is one of the reasons it's so hard to read. Like I said, you used to have a book for every room, and then now it is difficult to read. But I'm trying. I'm trying. I was thinking this morning as well, leading into talking about my creative setting with the inside outside Razor's Edge and the solo RPG setting, which is just a layer in the Razor's Edge. Some layers are very difficult to get to and very difficult to leave. There are very few glamours that will lead you into a place that's hard to find. And they're only hard to find because while the ability to use glamours is something that's built into reality, and if you have the genes, you can access this stuff. So they can't layers can't change the underlying basis of reality, but they can alter your perceptions of such. It's like if there's a lantern and you put a block in front of it, a block of concrete, the lantern's still there, but now you can't see it. Or if you tape something over your eyes, lantern's still there, you can't see it. You can interfere with your ability to perceive it without bothering the fact that the lamp is there. And that's what happens. It dampens or can cloak or almost completely eliminate the ability to perceive glamours and thus use them. And the solo RPG setting is one of those. There are very few glamours that you can perceive that will lead in a kind of glow effect for things that go inward. And then once you're in, you have to be mega powerful. And you might be able to see one or two glamours that lead out. Otherwise, you're in and you're there forever. So, yeah. But that's just the way some of those things work. And again, it is just a layer, a place on the Razor's Edge. Because the Razor's Edge can contain just about anything that's, if it's not actually impossible according to the particular rules of reality for that location. And then the addition of the extra universal energies and what that means for the effects of other layers and other, upper regions and lower regions of reality to affect where we are on this level. So, thumbs up for that. But I did want to talk about some other things. I've wanted to talk about characters, just to remind myself to keep them fresh, because I had halfway forgotten about some of these that I want to talk about, and I've also tried to talk about them the past couple of days, and then just gotten so bogged down on info dump I couldn't get that far. Because there's characters like, or remembering that when your third eye opens, when you have a cryptid presence that opens up your cryptid senses, so the sensory organs, thank you, that activate your sensory organs. Oh boy, because I had to fight so hard. It is such a rough thing. So, characters. When your third eye opens, depending on the strength of it, so there's some character, I have lost it entirely. My brain is just failing. I'm just going to talk about the characters without any sort of background stuff because I keep getting lost when I try it because of very bad ADHD brain because of insomnia. So we have characters like Jason. Now, remembering, I think what I was trying to say here before is because you're a failed cryptid and cryptids crave human meat, and so there is a corporation, Uncle Bonbons, that barters human meat food products and snack products for cryptids, And you may say to yourself, you would never eat human meat when your third eye first opens, and you mean it with your heart. But in 30 days, you're going to be standing in line to buy some more human jerky down at the Third Eye stand, which is the Uncle Bonbons for those with their third eye open. Because if you tried to eat the stuff that they sell at Cryptids, you would die. Like there's hemicola, and hemicola so that it can affect cryptids who have very powerful livers and such to detoxify things. There's 35 grams of caffeine per 500 milliliters of hemicola. They get a little kick from that. Whereas you shouldn't take more than 400 milligrams of caffeine in a day or you might die. So they have to stand and go to those stands to get stuff, and most of it is human based. The Uncle Bonbons is very, very good at breaking down bodies into their component parts to make various food and snack products. But you will say, I would never do that. And the cryptid part of you will go, boy, could I have some of that? Can I try that? And yeah, you're not really human, though you've got a human body and everyone thinks you're human and you think you're human. But, so there's characters like Jason. Jason is one of those that has a further wrinkle in his genetic defects that kept him with a human body instead of converting into cryptid energy and matter. He's past that 30-day thing. And he still doesn't want to eat human meat. It smells good, and the few times that he's been able to force himself to try it, it tastes good, but he's still got all of the cultural imprinting of anti-cannibalism, which makes sense. I mean, out here in the non-cryptid world, we shouldn't be eating each other. That's a bad thing. That's not a good thing at all. But in the cryptid world, he still feels that. And the last time he actually forced himself to try, he got a half a bite into his mouth before he had to spit it out, and he spent most of the rest of the day crying. So he's trying to live in this cryptid world where there are lots of cryptids that, not lots, comparative. If you compare it to the amount we know of, which is 0, any amount is a lot. But there are 2% of the dark cryptids have to devour human meat to survive. There are some that eat human meat because they like it, but it's only a very small portion of dark cryptids that have to do so. But they tend to accumulate in lots of places where lots of people are. And so there's a lot of dark cryptids that have the dietary requirement for human meat that I talk about. Because I talk about Brookerton, South Carolina, where this all takes place. So there's characters like poor Jason, who's just not set up to handle this. Now, he'll be fine as long as he, doesn't be around, people or other beings that like to eat human meat. In which case, boy, is he screwed. And then there's Benjamin and Thomas. They are a cryptid and human couple. Of the urban cryptids that can pass for and act like human beings, there is a lot of crossover between cryptids and human beings with their third eye open on the romantic scale in that department, where there are a lot of cryptid human couples. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Because if you push a cryptid into an instinctive state where they don't think, they're just acting on instinct, well, that can be very bad. Because when they're acting on instinct, they're acting like there would be another cryptid. And human beings come apart a whole lot easier than cryptids do. So if they're pushed into an instinctive state during passion, you may literally be mating pressed to death. To use a term that I have fairly recently discovered that I'm not going to mention. If you want to talk about that, just look up like Rule 34 mating press. Yeah, Google is fun. But there's that kind of instinctive state, and if you push a cryptid into an instinctive state of anger, not just human beings tend to die when that happens. Other cryptids tend to die. Human beings come apart quite easily under cryptid tooth and claw. Claws and teeth pass through our meat like jello, and our bones are like sugar cookies, but only under teeth and claw. When they're going for other cryptids, because they're not going up against people, generally the stronger of the one is the winner. So if it's the smaller that goes against the tougher, they might be the one that gets eaten. But generally, as a human being, you don't want to push a cryptid into an instinctive state of anger, because then you have a large carnivore that has a constant and desperate need to eat human meat, and now its anger is laser focused on you. Savor your last few seconds of life, because your story is now over. They are going to eat you in raw chunks, and it is going to hurt. As much as I love my cryptids, my beautiful, beautiful cryptids, from the viewpoint of someone in the victim pool, they are primarily monsters, because when they are eating human meat, generally they just eat us in chunks. Bite, rip, chew, chew, swallow, bite. And it takes a while to die, depending on where they're biting. And it's not like they're trying to be cruel either. It's just they're unable to make that conceptual leap from people are people that can feel things, therefore you shouldn't eat them. They can't, breaks down. It doesn't parse. It doesn't make sense. Individually, don't eat human beings. All those words make sense, but try to parse it together as a sentence? And they just can't get it. But Benjamin and Thomas, they're a male cryptid, male human couple, and that's about as far as I'll go with that one, because I don't really have a ton of story on them. There's a lot of them like that. But then one of the major ones that I do know a lot about are things like King Mike, because there is a nominal ruler of the cryptid population in Brooklyn, South Carolina, and that is King Mike. And King Mike is a ghoul, and he's been ruling over Brookerton for the past 125 years. Which ghouls only live like 300 years, and he was pushing 200 when he became king. But now he figures he's over 300. About 250 ghouls start getting No, their vision starts clouding, cataracts. They get whiter hair. Their green skin starts fading in colors. But he doesn't have any of that. But there's a bigger and terrifying reason for that. But he is a ghoul, and there was a fellow named like Thomas McEwen who was a very, very bad person, and the horrible things that he did with the cryptid energy and cryptids about, a presence was formed and created. But he was such a monster that he was dragged out finally from his mansion. He was hung, quartered, burned. People were so pissed at him. And then his mansion just left. They buried what they could find on the ashes. But then the cryptid population started having issues. They started having a lot of people dying because something was happening, and wham! And just a husk would fall to the ground. Well, King Mike got summoned to the mansion and discovered that the presence there, no mind, just the will, and no body, because Thomas McEwen was dead. And it was fading, but as a machine, it had emergency protocols, which is all just emergent properties, where when its metaphorical reserve dropped below a certain threshold, an emergency procedure, wham! And a cryptid would be a husk, would bump it up above levels. But because it was an emergency, it just brought it up. And then it would immediately start fading again, and then wham! King Mike was the kind of person that could help. And when King Mike discovered the presence, they, through a bunch of things, were able to drag back, I say a bunch of things because it's really weird, and it doesn't really add anything to the Cliff's Notes thing I'm doing right now, was able to relocate the body, and yeah, inside of a coffin in the graveyard, that the coffin that they had buried with no body, King Mike, just Big Mike at this point, retrieved Thomas's body out of there, brought it back, and the presence, which was the will, with the body needing a mind, pulled King Mike into that trio. So there's a presence, a body, and a mind. But that presence is like once again, a machine that is a nuclear silo. And King Mike is in charge of this nuclear silo that can just wipe out huge populations of cryptids in the wrong hands. But he is the nominal ruler of Brookerton, South Carolina. Nominal because the only thing he asks is the various warlords around the city is just keep your place clean. If you kill anyone and you don't finish eating them, send them up to me. Being a ghoul, he needs to eat, rotten human meat. But he does a pretty good job, and people like him, and people keep Brookerton clean. But lost track of my brain there. Call to action time. If you could like, comment, share, subscribe, that would be very, very cool. Definitely a thumbs up. Greatly appreciated as well. And of course, to each one of my Patreon patrons, you are beautiful and awesome people. When you look in the mirror, you are looking at someone who is beautiful and awesome, as stated, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Definitely a thumbs up on that. For everybody that has left me a comment, you too are beautiful and awesome people in your own way. I read every comment that YouTube shows me. I thumbs up or heart every comment that YouTube allows, and I answer as many comments as my nerve compression will let me. The bone of my vertebrae are growing in and around the nerves that control my hands, pinching them off. Eventually, I'm going to need surgery. Hopefully I'll die of old age before that time. Anyway, though, I am going to continue playing computer games. I need to clear up enough space on my hard drive that I can install Red Dead Redemption 2. I think I'm trying to remember. I have ADHD brain bad, especially today, and I cannot, and I've been trying to remember, even if, well, I am losing my mind. So I'm just going to let it go with, yeah, I still have it and I'm going to install it even though I cannot remember exactly when I bought it, though I could look on my profile, I imagine. But I don't know if that will help me actually remember doing it. So maybe it was gifted to me. I don't know. Anyway, though, I want to do that. I want to record Disco Elysium after I clear up space. And if you've watched this far, thumbs up and thank you for living through my various brain failures. I know other people who hyper edit their videos. You know, it's a much tighter, cleaner experience, but I like to watch the people that ramble as well. And so I ramble. So thank you very, very much. I don't have any great word to put up here for anyone to type into comments and such. I'm just failing today. As stated, I'm going to take care of myself. Hopefully you will take care of yourself. That would be a very good thing. And get done anything you would like to get done. If you cannot get done whatever you would like to get done, please do not beat yourself up. It will not help you get it done better next time. And you frankly deserve better. So before I ramble on and say nothing for a full half hour, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. And that is indeed a very good thing. So yeah, I'm going to be recording another episode of Disco Elysium today. And that'll be good. I can get my mouse to come over here so I can hit the button to stop recording. Yay! Take care.